And welcome back to the Spicy Sports Show with Sam Cerrone and Tom Crane, coming to you live from Portland, Oregon and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It's about 4:28 on the West Coast, sorry. 7:28 on the East Coast. It's May 23rd, so that's why I said 5. 5/23/17. What up, May? The May flowers are supposed to come out, and they have, at least in Portland. It's pretty good. It's about mid-80s, feeling pretty solid. The finally bikini weather, sundress weather. Hey now. Tommy, how is it on the West Coast, or East Coast?
Wow, you're messing up a little bit. But
so bad.
It's very sporadic. I'm not going to lie. It was, last week, it was in the 90s. And then it switched from 90s in one day to low 60s the next. And then it's just hovering between raining, being hot, being cold. We haven't seen snow yet, but that might be happening in the future. It's like 4 seasons right now, and it's like almost June, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can make a better weatherman than most people on air. So that sounds about right for the temperature. It could be anything at any time. Back to you, Tom. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about today. Game number 4 tonight between... Man, I'm messing up bad early. Game number 4 tonight between Boston and Cleveland. What a game it was in game number 3 in Cleveland, where Boston pulled out a win where many people didn't think it was going to happen. Isaiah Thomas is out. Cleveland is on fire, but Kelly Olynyk, Jerez Jerebko, of all players, stepping up huge for the Celtics. It's 2-1. Is there a possibility the Celtics could get back in the series? We'll talk about that. We already have one team in the NBA Finals, the Golden State Warriors. They've clinched 4-0, winning 129-115 last night. After that, with about 2.5 minutes left, Manu Ginobili walks off for potentially the last time in an NBA uniform. And what an ovation he got, not just from the fans, but from the players, Durant, Curry, just showing respect to one of the greatest European players. I put him in top 5 European player of all time. Is he a Hall of Famer? We'll talk about that. Some soccer. Yeah, we already have a Champions League final here coming up in the countdown is on. I think it's about 10 days away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11 days away. Juventus and Real Madrid. Real Madrid has the ability to clinch the double, considering that they clinched La Liga, the Spanish league title, on Sunday, which is a great race to watch. And then, of course, Juventus is trying to get the incredible treble by winning the Italian Cup, League Cup, and then, of course, the Champions League as well. So we're going to talk about that for a little bit. We'll talk about some soccer within the leagues around the top 5 leagues between, again, England, Spain, France, Italy, and Germany, how they ended up. And then, some, of course, baseball with Tommy. That's always another week of conversation. And then final topics. It's going to be a very short show. Not a lot to talk about. But first, of course, Tommy, say hi to the pretty people once again.
Hello, pretty people.
Sweet. All right, let's get right into it. Game number 4 tonight between the Celtics and the Cavaliers. We do expect LeBron James to come back and do really well. I think that's pretty obvious. It's just the Cleveland seemed so poised to sweep through the finals just like Golden State did. But we just knew the Celtics as a number 1 seed. It just seemed too good to be true. Yes, Isaiah Thomas, our best player, is out. But this Celtics team, they're 2 pieces away from really competing for the title. But I honestly thought this was going to go at least 5, even without Isaiah. And they did. They showed a lot of heart, and especially watching it through the second half, you knew that if Boston was still in it at the end, on the road, they have nothing to lose at this point. Cleveland is by far the favorite to win. If they come out with no pressure, they're going to play their game. So for game number 4, I do expect Boston to come out and try to contain LeBron James as best as possible. Although contain, I don't use that word as in very seriously, because it's it's a very difficult task to control LeBron James regardless. That being said, I do expect Boston to put up a fight. I do expect this game to be within single digits in this game. It's going to be very close. But I do expect Cleveland to come out on top. I do expect, as I mentioned, LeBron James is going to be upset that he didn't put this team away when they should have. Again, game number 4, you can check it out, 8:30 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on TNT. Cleveland is a 15.5-point favorite. And on Sunday, they were a 16.5-point favorite and blew it, which is the largest in a conference finals ever. So if you put money on Boston to win on Sunday, you won a lot of money. So, Tommy, what are your thoughts heading into game number 4 for Boston and Cleveland? Again, do you expect Boston do you have any hope for them to win another game in this series, or no?
Well, first off, the most important thing right now is that Cleveland needs to close out this series right now because Golden State Warriors has a 9-day rest period before the start of the finals, which will be June 1st. If Cleveland goes farther than that, they won't have as much rest, and I feel like they'll feel it during the finals. With that being said, Cavaliers are definitely going to win the next 2 games, and LeBron James is going to have a big night tonight for just going 11 points last game. And that was only because he just didn't have a shot, and he didn't blame anybody else. He blamed himself. He wasn't feeling it. He went 0 for 4 from 3-point range in Cleveland's Game 3 loss, so he's been practicing. They have some videos up on ESPN of him shooting some corner shots and some half-court shots as well, doing his famous warm-ups. But this is a very important game for the Cavaliers, and they need to, bring it right now, especially since Isaiah Thomas is not 100%. And Kelly Olynyk is not 100% as well. So LeBron needs to crash the board just like he did in Game 2, where he pretty much scored every single time in the paint and was the lead scorer there. So LeBron James just needs to be the leader that he is, and Cleveland will be okay.
Yeah, they do. But look, I do expect Cleveland to win this series. That's not a doubt, I think, in my mind that Cleveland's going to win this series. It's just a matter of how many games. And you're right, Tommy. Golden State has a 9-day rest period where they're good to go. And Tommy, is that going to help them or hurt them? Because some rest can help teams, but the Golden State has been resting all throughout the playoffs as they've won 12 in a row to start this postseason. Again, is considering considering the fact that they have had injuries along the way throughout the season, is it going to help them or no?
It's definitely going to help them. Golden State, if you haven't seen already, has swept all their games so far, and they're at an NBA playoff record-setting pace for the most points per game against their opponents. They're at about 16.3 points above the other team when they win their games, which is astounding. And we all knew that it would probably be a Cavaliers versus Golden State Warriors final, which means it would be a closer game and might wreck that average. But the way that it's looking right now, the Warriors, or their rest period right now, will definitely help them. It's not a huge surprise. It'll help Durant rest up his legs, which apparently needs to happen. And Steph Curry, you haven't seen any effects of rest against that or any other players on the team. So I don't think it's that much of a hindrance for the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, no, I think they've been in this scenario. It's not like it's their first time to the finals where they don't know what to do. They've been here before. The 3rd year in a row for them. They know how to act. They know how to be professional, and they know how to make sure that they're in the best condition, even with this rest, for game number 1. So as long as they know what to do, they should. Again, they know they have no problem being ready for game 1, and it should be a really exciting finals. So again, I do expect game number 4 to be in Cleveland's favor. Game number 5 is back in Boston. Maybe Boston can pull out another miracle, but right now I just see it all Cleveland, considering when you make LeBron mad, he goes off. So speaking of Golden State, yes, they won game number 4 last night, 129-115 over the San Antonio Spurs. No Kawhi, no Tony Parker. It just created a lot of issues. You had 39-year-old Manu Ginobili. Again, great player in his own right. I'm not knocking him for anything, but having him being the leader of his team and can even still isn't enough. LaMarcus Aldridge simply did not do enough in this process to do anything. So it's just a matter of the Spurs bowing down to the Warriors as the next team. They just did not have it in this series. Yes, Kawhi has had a lot to play in it, but outside of that, I mean, they just were a much better. Golden State's just a much better team right now than San Antonio, and you can see it on all facets of the floor. Now, that being said, yes, Manu Ginobili walked off, as I mentioned, with 2.5 minutes left at the top of the show, to a standing ovation from all the fans in San Antonio to the players on both teams. And you saw Durant and Steph Curry give them a nice applause and acknowledging the great career that he had. You look at how many titles he won: 4 titles, 2-time NBA All-Star, won 6-man a couple times, and again, a lot of great finals moments. For me, I put him at one of the top European players of all time. Dirk's obviously number 1, considering where he is on the all-time scoring charts and leading a franchise for 20 years. And, of course, leading them to a title, being the corner piece. I think it's just hard to unseat that. That being said, I think Manu Ginobili probably you put in at number 2 or 3. Just because of how many titles he won, the significance that he contributed, whether it be a starter or on the bench. Throughout his career, he mainly lived on the bench, but he played as if he was a starter, playing really well throughout his career. So I'm pulling up his stats right now as it comes up. But Tommy, in the meantime, while I do that, what is the likeliness that Manu Ginobili, a player who was drafted in the second round, pick number 57 in 1999, is going to be a Hall of Famer in the NBA?
I think it's the way that he's played throughout the years. It's definitely a good chance that he will be picked. First round ballot, I would give it a 70% chance that he would be in and get in on the first. On the second, he definitely will. I'm looking at his stats per game right now, and he has been in 992 career games. He has his field goal percentage is a .447, so pretty much half of his shots have gone in, which is pretty good. His average points throughout his whole career is 13.6. His steals 1.4. His blocks 0.3, which isn't bad. Assists 3.9, and his free throw percentage it's okay. It doesn't rival Steve Nash's, but it's a .826, which is very respectable. So looking at his stats, it's not like all-star defining stats, but they are, I believe, good enough, especially for Manu to make it into the Hall of Fame one day.
Yeah, I mean, look, he wasn't the cornerstone piece, I would say, to a franchise like Dirk or even Steve Nash, Tom, but I think Manu played a very significant role in winning all those titles. Some late clutch performances when they played the Detroit Pistons in the NBA Finals, when they won another title, when they swept the Cavaliers, when LeBron James' first NBA Finals. He just has always been a big piece. It was always Timmy, Tony, and Manu. Like, that was the trio that you would build around to win these titles, and they've done so very well. Again, stats are very important to a degree to make it, but I think it's also the impact on the game and growing it. And Manu, for growing the game of basketball in Argentina, I believe they won also a Olympic gold medal with that Argentina national team. So back in 2004, I believe, upsetting the U.S. So there are, not just in the NBA, but just globally, his impact has been great as well. And bringing on a couple of Argentinian players to come to the league after him, probably most notably Andres Nocioni, who played for the Bulls for a couple of years. That being said, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about some baseball. Tommy, do you have anything in this upcoming weekend with baseball?
I will surprise you all.
Done. Surprising everybody. That's how we do it on the Spicy Sports Show. Here is coming over Kygo, Dylan Francis, James Hershey on the Spicy Sports